What is up, OmniSci family? We are back again for another Foundation Friday. My name is Antonio Catronio, and I am the Director of Product Marketing here at OmniSci, and I'm excited to be back with you again. We've sort of released some other videos in place of the stream over the last few weeks, all in support of the new demonstration with the dot density census demonstration that we put out, and really thank Kyle Pinnell for joining us these last few weeks for delivering some insight into how he developed those demonstrations. But we're back again live. I'm really excited. We have some cool content for today. Nice, short, and sweet stream for you all today, where we're going to focus on how to enable beta features when new releases come out in OmniSci that have those features in them, and you want to give them a try and you want to test them out for yourselves. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in, as always, I'm going to bring in Danny, and we are going to have a little bit of a chat. We're going to talk about exactly how we're going to go about doing this, and then we'll dive right in and show you how. So let's go ahead and bring Danny in now. What's going on, Danny?
Hello, everybody. It's Danny here again. Yeah, a lot of cool features coming out in the future for OmniSci. So being able to take advantage of all these beta features is definitely going to be something that you're going to want to use if you want to fully take advantage of all the cool features that are coming. So super stoked for this one. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, man. You've been good? You've been good this week?
I've
You
been
had
doing
plenty
well.
going on?
Yeah, like Thanksgiving was good. Looking forward to Christmas now. It's the holiday seasons. I always love this time of the year. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's always
we're in the
like
dead
festive.
sprint now, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Appreciate you joining us again. So what we're gonna do is I want to actually show what previous version of OmniSci looks like, because to actually enable the beta features, we have to upgrade our current instance. Now this is the same instance that you all have seen us use over the last couple of months that we've been doing the streams. So we're gonna update this instance to kind of start out today's exercise, and then we'll go ahead and add those new features in and show you how that changes after we update the instance itself. So let me go ahead and jump over to full screen so you all could see this in a little bit more detail. So up here at the top, if you remember that stream that we did right before Halloween, we discussed like how to go about updating an OmniSci instance that is deployed via a Docker container. So one of the ways that we can always check to see what version we're using, obviously you can go into if you wanted to SSH into the box, you can go and take a look at the version. But the easiest way for me is just to be logged into my OmniSci instance and go to the help button here, hit that little drop down arrow, and go to about OmniSci, and you get a nice view of exactly what version you're running right now. You can see I'm running OmniSci free. It's a free edition right here, and then the actual core version that you're running in your instance. For any of you that are either joining us now or watching, from the resources center on OmniSci.com, if you want to go ahead and try OmniSci free for yourself, you can always do that. Just go to OmniSci.com and you'll see it's a big fat button right there in the center of the screen, so you can go ahead and download OmniSci for yourself and give it a shot. All right.
Link in the description. Link in the description.
Link in the description. Thank you, Danny. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually, now that we know what version we're running, 5.9 came out recently, and we're going to have some announcement and content on that coming soon. But as a part of that release, there were a few key beta features that were released, like cross-linking, filtering by geo-bounding box, things like that. Now, we're not going to get too in-depth on those specific features themselves, but what we want to do is, like, at 5.9 or any other release after 5.9, this is a great way to enable some of those beta features if you want to go ahead and try them for yourself. This is something that you can try each release, and you can turn them on and off to your liking. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're actually going to have to SSH into the box itself. So I've already gone ahead and done that. So similar to what we did in that stream right before Halloween, is we're going to go ahead and update our our actual instance. So to do that, we're just going to take a look at all of the Docker containers that are on this box. And if you've been with us before, you sort of understand this experience. So we're actually looking for this last Docker container right here, which you can see it's actually straddled across both screens. But you can see right here it says OmniSci DB. So that's going to be the container that we are going to update itself. The other piece is this is for the actual OmniSci web, and then this is for the Jupyter Hub here itself. All right. So let's go ahead and let's stop this. We're gonna stop this container. So let's go ahead, sudo docker container stop, and then we need to give the actual container ID to go ahead and give that a stop. Let's go ahead and put that here, and let's go ahead and spin that down. All right. And Danny, I know you weren't able to join me for the Halloween stream, so if there's any questions that you have specifically about any of the steps that we're running through or any of the concepts, just let me know. We can sort of clarify those during the stream.
Absolutely.
All right. So the next thing that we need to do now that we've stopped our container is we need to go ahead and we need to pull the new OmniSci container. Now, one thing to kind of consider when going into this part of the upgrade is whether or not you're running a GPU version or CPU version of OmniSci. If you are running the GPU version, like we have this instance is spun up in AWS. It's running on a G4DN extra large, I believe, is the instance type, and so we have a GPU that we're running against, NVIDIA GPU that we're running against. It's a T4 GPU. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the CUDA build. So you'll see this. Let me go ahead and pull this here. So you can see this is OmniSci EE CUDA. All right, so that's going to be the GPU version. Just keep that in mind. This is all in the documentation. We also have some videos on the YouTube page as well, if you want to take a look. But this is something to consider when going ahead and doing the upgrade. So let's go ahead and pull that. It's going to go and pull all of the requisite information directly from the Docker site, and once that's completed, we're then just going to change a few of the different parameters and run this Docker container. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to pull. I have a little script here that I'm pulling from. Let me clear this up so you can see this a little bit better. All right, so we'll paste this in here. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to run that new Docker container. These ports are some of them are already used, so you'll see that in the next step. So I wouldn't worry about. We are going to experience one quote unquote error after we run this this specific piece. It's not an actual error. All we need to do is spin up and spin down the Docker container post run. So let's go ahead and do that.
Where did you actually copy and paste that Docker information from?
So I have a Sublime Text window open. That's just a text editor that I have. It's a little script that I have, but all of this information is on the docs page. I'll actually pull that over real quick. I have it right here, so you all can see that. So on the docs page, if you actually go to installation and you come over here to upgrade, you'll see these same exact steps right here. Perfect. So we just, and this is that what we just ran. So this is with GPUs. You'll see this is the piece that we just ran right here. The only change that I made to that was the version number down here at the bottom and pointed that directly to 5.9. I think I just got rid of the. Here we are.
We gotta start putting the docs link in the descriptions of these.
Yeah, I should definitely. Really that's useful. A good point.
Yeah, I'll put it up. All
right, cool. All right, so you can see that it was able to go ahead and pull the latest version 5.9.0, and with that EE CUDA version. It pulled, it always is going to pull the newest version, but you can see right here, it's saying that we already have something bound to that port. That port is already allocated. We're going to take care of that. We're going to take care of that here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch directories, and we're going to go to cd var lib OmniSci and then OmniSci storage, and that's going to bring us to a directory that has basically, it's got the omnisci.conf, it's got the Docker Compose YAML file, and also take notice, we're going to actually be working in the same directory for the next steps as we enable the actual beta features in that servers.json file off to the right over here. All right. So, but first, what we're going to do is we're going to Docker Compose down and up on this. So let's go sudo Docker Compose down, and this will take a second. So thus far, Danny, anything on your side that or
this is great so far
on all this? All right, cool. All right, so now we're gonna go sudo Docker Compose up. Basically, just instantiate all those changes that we just made. Make sure that everything's up and running, and then once it's done spinning up, what we could do is we can jump back over to our web browser and take a look at the actual changes before we come back and enable the beta features themselves. So we'll now that we have that finished, let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to clear this up, and then let's jump over to. We're going to have to refresh this. Yes, I know. I promise it's safe. Let's just go straight to the port here. We need to give it a second. There we go. All right, let me go ahead and log back in. And what we should see now is if we come back here, you can see that we're now, obviously so we're still using the OmniSci free, but instead of the 5.8 that we were looking at before, you can see that we're now upgraded to version 5.9. So we've successfully upgraded to the latest version. Now, not all of those, and this makes, I hope this makes sense to everybody, but the beta components of this particular release are not enabled by default, right? Because we want to work with our users. Some we're going to expose, some we're simply not. I would always look at either our releasement blogs on the announcement, which again is going to be coming soon, or you can look at all of the release highlights and patch notes for that are on the site. Actually, if I pull that back up real quick, I'll show you where those are. I know I minimize that. Yep, here we go. So like once you come into the documentation, you can actually see over here we have all the release highlights for the past releases. And so you'll see here in the release highlights, 5.9 is an incremental release for us. Like we've talked about in either previous blogs or streams, we've gotten much better about doing more frequent releases and on a frequent release schedule. That's awesome work by Pei and team. And with this particular release, we're gearing up for some really cool content that's going to be coming here in the near future. But to be able to do that, obviously some of these features we need to make sure that are being tested by our current customers and free users. And it's a great way to test things and be kind of on the cutting edge of what's going to be coming out with OmniSci if you want to give it a shot. And also, honestly, for you all to take part in helping us improve the product. I mean, you are a core part of our process, right? If you're kind of banging on these machines, using some of these features that we are highlighting here, like the cross-panel UI or custom expressions in table columns or the custom SQL support, source support, we can improve those, ensure that when those go live, that they are the best possible version of themselves, and they're giving you the functionality required for you to do your work to the best of your ability. So this is what's in the release highlights, and then if you want the actual release notes, the more detailed release notes, this is going to be each of those features that have been released during this release, and then also some fixes that we've made in the process so that you can keep up with those as well. And to Danny's point before, we could do we'll do our part and make sure that these things are also included in the description of the streams. All right. I just let me minimize this again so we can jump back in. All right, so now those couple beta features that we just showed there, as well as a few others that I want to enable right now, we're going to go ahead and do that here. So let's come back to our terminal, and what I'm going to do is, and I believe I'm still in the proper place. Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, if we take a look, we have this servers.json file over here. Let me just go ahead and cat that so I can show you what this looks like. So there we go. So over here we have a lot of these are base features of your instance, right? And I only have one feature flag currently enabled, and that's the UI dashboard tab. So if we come back to I think we did this in the horror movies. If not, I can show you what that looks like. Okay, yeah. So if we see, speaking of which, I know this is a complete tangent, but I actually have watched a bunch of these movies since, and I can attest that James Wan, his movies are terrifying. I had never seen The Conjuring or any of those movies previously, but I watched them recently with a buddy of mine, and oh my God! We'll keep this PG the stream today, but I was quite terrified to say the least. Okay, so back to the point that we're trying to make. So you'll see these tabs down here along the bottom of the dashboard. So that's all that we have enabled here in the servers.json file, which is this just UI dashboard tabs is true, right? And this is all just normal JSON, right? There's nothing truly special going on here in terms of that. So if we want to add additional feature flags, which is the category of the beta features that we're going to be focusing on today, not all beta features are going to be feature flags, but a lot of them are. So this is something that you all be able to use in the future if you want to test out new beta features that are coming out soon. So the first thing we need to do, because I don't know if it's just me, but I am a bigger fan of Nano than I am of Vim or VI. So I am going to actually, and because if I'm not mistaken, base CentOS deployments don't come with Nano, so I have to actually install that real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and sudo yum install, and I'm going to go ahead and just pass the yes now Nano, so we can get that installed for everybody. You could use whatever you like. This is just me. I don't know why. I like the kind of interface, the GUID of Nano, and I find it easier to get out of it, frankly, to actually close the window. So let's go ahead. That was installed properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and cat the servers.json again, just so everybody can see it. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna come in and we are going to actually edit. We're gonna edit this file, and we're gonna add other feature flags to the instance, and save the servers.json file. Go back to our the web browser, take a look at the deployment, and we'll be able to see those features. All right, so let's go ahead, sudo nano servers.json, and so now we're in here, and so we'll come down to the feature flags, and because this is just like regular JSON, what we're gonna do is, and I actually have these all like in a block. So what we'll do is we'll actually do like this, and I'll copy them or paste them into here so that you can all see them, and we can talk a little bit about them specifically. So, all right, let me grab these. All right, so these are each of the features that I'm going to enable today. So like we talked about, things that were a part of the three main ones from this specific release was the enable crosslink panel, enable custom source manager. Actually, before I save this, let me show you this. Let me come back to horror movies here. again, look, James Wan, top right corner here, terrifying, folks. Okay. Anyways, so
Look at
you'll
that ranking.
see.
I wonder what kind of movies Wes Craven
Oh,
produces.
Wes Craven puts out some bangers. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
You'll see along the left hand side here. There's 3 tabs currently. We have the filters, the parameters, and the UI settings. And then you'll also see if we go to add a new chart, you'll see. Well, it looks like by default in the 5.9 update, the point map has been enabled. I'll show you that one. I actually added that to the code that we just pasted into our nano screen. But you'll see all of these charts here as part of the header here. And one of the ones that we're actually going to be removing some of these as part of the update of this servers.json file. Now, the actual flag says hide deprecated chart types. I want to ensure everybody, I want to make it very, very clear. These are not being deprecated right now, okay? I know that's what the flag says, but we know we have valued users that are using these chart types right now. So we are not getting rid of these today, okay? Now, what we are saying is that because you can currently see there's a new combo chart and there's an existing combo chart, all right? So what we're going to be doing over time is we're going to be helping our customers move their combo charts to the newer combo chart, but we understand there are still reasons why we have customers that are using the existing combo chart today, that there are still features that need to be ported to the new combo chart before we fully move away from that. Again, we are not getting rid of these charts. I want to make that very clear. All right, but what we are going to be doing is clearing up this header so that, let's say you don't use the old combo chart, which we know there are a lot of people that have stopped using that completely because for them the features of the combo chart that they needed are being satisfied by the newer combo chart. So if you're not using any of the charts that we'll see going away, actually what I'm going to do is we can actually do this for comparison. I'm actually just going to go ahead and pull this. We'll pull a screenshot of this real quick. And nice. I'll pull it back up when we're done. I'm going to do the same here so that I'll show you what this looks like after we're done. And then we can compare some of the differences. All right, so let's jump back over to Nano. We're also going to be, this is what I was saying with the enable 3D chart that we do. I didn't realize that this was, and it has a little beta flag on it. That was actually included by default at 5.9. I thought that was still something that was that I needed to turn on. So the other ones that we saw from the actual update or release highlights page was the enable dashboard shared custom SQL, the enable custom source manager. I'm also including the GeoJoin bounding boxes, which I actually believe is now fully featured. Don't quote me on that. I need to double check. And then this one has already been enabled. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and write this to the file. This is just if you're on Mac, it's just Control O, and then it says file name to write to. We're gonna write this directly to servers.json, and then we'll get out of here with Control X. So now that we're here, we can come back to our dashboard here, and if all went to plan as it did, thank goodness, you can see that there's immediately some differences over here. Let me actually pull up those screenshots again just so we can actually compare them. Pull this one up. All right, so immediately you can actually see here, this is the pre-existing before we enabled those flags, and then here is the change. So immediately the one that you see is going to be this cross-linking. So basically what cross-linking is, it's going to be able to, just within the dashboard, again, these are beta features, so if you are trying them out and you see any issues or you see any errors, please communicate those. You can communicate those directly. If you're an enterprise user, you can work with your customer success manager or your account executive or solution engineer that you work with on a regular basis. If you are a free user, please communicate with us through intercom or through let's see. Community forums is probably the best place now that I think about it. If you can just go ahead and communicate that to us through the community forums and just say, hey, listen, I turned on these beta features. This guy I watched this stream from, this Joker, he told me to turn on these beta features, and I'm seeing this, and this. That's perfect. That allows us to come back in, make sure that those are prepared and ready for when they launch fully. So, but cross-linking is going to give us the ability to set up a link directly here between multiple sources, and then we can, essentially create a match between the two. It's like essentially a joinless join is how I like to think about it, is being able to do some of those column links here so that you can enable the cross filtering without perhaps flattening some of the tables into single views or full projections. And then you can create those cross-link columns for your visualizations directly within Immerse. All right, so that's one of those. The other one that we turned on was this right here. So if I pull this up, this was the what it looked like before. So you could see all of these different charts, right? So the ones that you're not seeing, right, is going to be stack bar, where you also don't see the histogram or the combo, right? And again, it's not that we're getting rid of these. The functionality of these charts is just in the combo chart. That's all. So and this is the last time I'm going to do this. We are not deprecating these charts today. For whatever reason, that was the nomenclature we chose to use for the feature flag. But eventually, we're going to move our users in this direction, right? All right, so that's what we have here on for those changes. So you can see that does kind of clean up the overall view really nice, right? And
yeah, definitely does clean up the UI really well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then some of the other ones that we, the point map was already, we already had that in there, the new beta point map that does have some of those features enabled within it. And I believe, we had the source, the custom source as well, which I'm probably not going to be able to get too deep into today specifically. But what I can say, and we can actually just pull this back up, it's probably the easiest way to do this, is going to be like if you come back to the actual feature highlights. So, for each of these, we have the adds custom expressions to table columns, allowing for reusable custom dimensions and measures within a single dashboard, right? And you can see how each of these says defaults to off. Well, we turn them on to true when we edited the servers.json file. This is our cross-link feature with the cross-link panel UI and the custom SQL source. This allows you to for the creation of a data source as a SQL statement, which is pretty darn cool. And we'll get into, once those are fully featured, we'll get into them much more in depth. And we're certainly excited to bring those all to you. So, all right. So let me jump back here, and we can kind of close this out because the primary of today's stream was obviously to show you how we go about enabling these features. So what we did, let's just kind of review real quick, Danny, is going to be, we came in, we showed everybody the previous 5.8 that we had. We upgraded the instance to 5.9. We then came back in. We showed everybody how we, the new version once we came in. Also took a look at what the UI looks like today, and then we went into the servers.json file for our instance and added the new beta features and turn them on, which is essentially to say that those individual feature flags are not true. We saved our servers.json file. We came back to our instance and we took a look at some of those changes. Before we close out, do you have any questions about the process that we used today?
Yeah, this was really great. I just had one, not really a question, but something that I was curious about. If you could open up the terminal real quick.
Yeah.
I was really interested to like I was curious as to why the dashboard tabs fell under the feature flags. So like what exactly like falls under the feature flags? Are you able to kind of just like enable or disable any feature that you
That's a
want
really
under the
good
feature
question.
flags as long as you have the ID, or like is it only for specific things?
No, this is a really good question. So let me pull this over, and we could sort of tease out some of this too, because we're going to be doing some of this in next week's stream for some of the customization. But basically, so here's all of our service.json file properties. So you could see like in here, you have these initial properties. Like what's the default database that, when you log in? Are we enabling the Jupyter Lab, which you see in the, here, let me come over here. Like, do you see like Jupyter Lab in your top right corner? Like who's you can, there's any number of different features that you can enable. And then, so like these are all the base features or properties, right? And then there's also all these different feature flags that we can add. So here's the dashboard tabs that we were looking at before. Default filter panel open. So you can actually take things down so that you can maybe clean it up even further. Or let's say you're configuring the UI for a set of end users with a specific role. Again, we like a few weeks back, we actually went through how to manage the roles and permissions for different users. Well, maybe you have things that are set up directly for them. Maybe you have a set of users that don't need to see all of this content, right? They don't need to see every last thing that's in the dashboard or in the UI. They just need to see the end results that you're trying to deliver. You can say which theme is going to be the default, light or dark. If you want to, enable or disable the data catalog in the data manager, those types of things. So these are all the different feature flags. This is one that we added today. The GeoJoin bounding boxes is true was one that we turned on. There's a point map default points is one that we see people using quite often.
There's a lot of stuff that you can enable / disable.
Oh,
I guess
absolutely.
I guess it was just funny to see that the tabs was just like left there, like it's just like sitting there, living there. Whereas like all these other ones are kind of like hidden. It's like you would have to like go in and manually disable it or enable it.
And like if you are keeping up with this over time, you'll see some of these like as they move into being new features. I believe tabs was new at 5.6 if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
You'll see these like as they come in, they'll be feature flags that are like defaulted to off or to false at a given point, and then perhaps later they're completely made true by default. So, and sometimes you'll see them actually leave the servers.json file at that time. So we actually like here. Let me clear this, and then we can actually cat that again, so you can see the new one. So this is the new one. Now that I wonder actually, now that you bring that up, what happens if we, and this is completely like a test, so I might completely break something right now. But let me, I want to see what this looks like if we came in here and we actually remove this. If we remove this flag right here, I have no idea what's going to happen. I imagine that it's just gonna it's not gonna do anything because it
said it was defaulted to true.
It's default, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's do this. All right, let me go back to go back here. Let me go. Yeah, they're still there. Okay, so that's just fine. So, but all of these other ones, there's some there, depending on like your role on your team that uses OmniSci, I would take a look at these, and then I guess something for everybody is next week we're going to be going into, some custom styles, things like that, logos, kind of essentially white labeling OmniSci for your purposes. This is going to be mostly for our enterprise users and for those that use OmniSci, as an internal app like that. But certainly, I think it's just information that's useful for basically any user of OmniSci. So, All right. Anything else, Dan? Because that was actually really good. I'm glad you asked that because I was able to bring this up and we were able to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else was pretty easy to follow. It's honestly a lot simpler of a process than I would have expected to enable the beta features. I didn't realize that so much of this stuff was accessible on the docs page. Like that's something that I myself need to do better at, is just like kind of going through the docs page and kind of just like playing around with it, seeing what you can do with it. It's
for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So for Denny and I, this has been a really fun stream. I'm glad we were able to do this one. It's always nice when things go according to plan, which is good. If you all could please like and subscribe to the OmniSci YouTube channel, it helps others find useful content and get to information that helps them use OmniSci more effectively for themselves. And join us every Friday. We'll do these every Friday. Foundational Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Thank you all. Appreciate it. You have a good one.
Have a great weekend.
Peace.